Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cleveland High School podcast. Today we're talking the movies of 2018, whether they were good movies or bad movies. I'm Jacob Murphy, joined by Connor Tyndall.
Hello, everyone.
How do you think the movies of 2018 went? You work at a movie
Yeah,
theater, so
being someone who works at a movie theater, I get sort of the, insider information on that sort of thing before everyone else does. And while there've been a lot of good movies and a lot of big openers, there's been some terrible ones, especially recently. So it's been mediocre.
the end of the year is always bad for movies because it's Christmas time and movie studios assume that people are like, no one's going to go to the movies because they're watching Christmas movies at their house. But it's still not an excuse to produce really crap movies. So, what movie do you want to start off with?
Well,
Let's start off with your favorite movie 2018. What was your favorite movie?
probably
2018?
Infinity War.
Okay, that was probably everybody's favorite movie.
I have that on
of
my name
2018.
tag as my favorite movie. So
serious?
yeah.
All right, I loved that movie. If you haven't seen it,
Yeah, if you haven't seen Infinity
should,
War by now.
but it probably won't make sense if you're not a Marvel fan, because then there's some references in there that don't make any sense. So you have to see most Marvel movies.
If you haven't seen Infinity War by now, then you probably live under a rock, because it's been almost a year since it released.
Yeah.
As of recording this, so
Yeah, but we recorded this in January. If you're hearing this in like September of 2022 or whatever.
okay.
But okay, was it Star-Lord's fault?
No.
I agree, and it was kind of his fault, but not completely.
I mean, yeah, he should have controlled himself, but it's not his fault that everything went wrong.
If Thor's enormous ego didn't get in the way and he chopped Thanos' arm off instead of like, oh, I'm gonna talk to you for a second while I slowly kill you, right? I think it all would have gone fairly smoothly.
Now everyone's dead, but not dead.
But are they dead?
No.
I don't know.
We've got what's the next one? Endgame coming out in
and
April.
You definitely have to see Infinity War before you see Endgame, which is coming out in April or May of this year, 2019. Again, if you're listening to this in the future.
I think it's the end of April.
Okay, end of April.
I've already requested off work for the days of Endgame and Captain Marvel, so I think we're set on that.
Now we'll also talk about the other Marvel movie that came out, Black Panther, which I liked. That was a good movie, but it did not deserve the hype that came around it.
It was nominated for an award for Best Visual Effects in 2018.
The way they did the animated opening or whatever with the like...
Oh, yeah, but, I mean, did you see the CGI rhino? That wasn't even, they didn't even attempt to make that look good.
I didn't really notice. It said, everybody said it was the best movie they've ever seen and by far the best Marvel movie, and not close.
It was
not that good.
Just the fact that they took a comic book movie about a superhero and turned it into a political statement.
Yes, everybody liked it because it was a political statement about, yay, African Americans are finally getting a fair shake in terms of casting and all this stuff.
There was nothing
yes,
political about it.
I loved that part about it. But let's all remember, it was a superhero movie. It wasn't a political statement. If you want to watch a political statement movie, watch like The Hate That You Give or Black Klansman.
Black Klansman was a way better movie than Black Panther was, and that is basically a political statement in and of itself, but people just sort of wrote that off. They're just sort of like, oh, that's cool.
And you have to love Adam Driver.
Yeah.
He's a great actor through and through. And every movie I've seen him in is a good movie.
And I don't remember
really
I don't remember the other guy's name, but
Ooh, I can't remember.
they both had they both had really good performances in that movie, and it's based on a true story, and just the idea that a black man and a white man could team up and infiltrate the KKK to expose an illegal like smuggling ring.
And it's based on a true story, yes?
Yeah, it's based on a true story.
it
That
was.
that in and of itself makes them superheroes. I was trying to look for the guy's name at the bottom.
The other guy's name in the movie besides Adam Driver is John David Washington. I don't know if I ever
Yeah,
heard.
they both had really good performances. The movie got amazing reviews. It says right here 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, 83% on Metacritic, and 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
And let's get off of the good movies. Since we listed 4 really good movies. What was the worst movie of 2018 in your opinion?
Based on statistics in the theater right now, Holmes and Watson is the worst movie of 2018.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, but we've had people walking out of the theater and asking for refunds when they go to see that movie.
That's how
and I've never seen that happen.
That's
with
how
a
you
movie
know
before.
it's a bad movie, when people go to see it and they are that angry that it's that bad. But most time, John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell are pretty good, but everything that I've heard about this movie is that it is really bad.
Yeah,
and,
I think
and
that-
don't spend your money on it. Wait till it's inevitably put on Netflix at a later date.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be put on
That is
Amazon
a
Prime or
made
Netflix.
made for Netflix film, it seems.
But yeah,
Speaking of Netflix, we can't go without talking about any Netflix originals. Do you watch any Netflix originals? Let's talk about Bird Box.
No,
okay?
I don't wanna
Because
talk
I have a
about Bird
bone
Box.
to pick. I have a bone to pick with Bird Box in saying that why does everyone love this movie? Because it's not a good movie
Yeah.
at all. There's no continuation. It doesn't make any sense. It starts out 5 years in the future and then goes back and forth between, oh, now it's the present. Now it's 5 years in the future. And then everything happens 5 years in the future doesn't make any sense. And they go back in time to explain it. If they had just started at the very beginning before all the monsters showed up and just gone on, would have made way more sense.
Yeah, I saw the same plot device used in a Cartoon Network show called Ben 10 Omniverse, and that show failed pretty
That
badly.
show went
so
off the air
yeah,
8 years ago.
so of course it wasn't going to
And
work.
Also,
but
if I'm John Krasinski, I'm very mad at Sandra Bullock because A Quiet Place is an excellent movie, and it is
did that come out in 2018?
A Quiet Place, yeah, it did.
Yeah,
And A Quiet Place.
that was an amazing movie.
Yeah, I mean, Bird Box is basically a ripoff of A Quiet Place. It's just you can't
Just worse.
you can't look instead of you can't talk, and it's way worse. And so if I was John Krasinski, I'd be very mad because he spent 3 years writing A Quiet Place.
Yeah, on the subject of A Quiet Place, that was John Krasinski's first time directing a movie. And while, yeah, there's not really a plot because there's only so much you can do without dialogue.
Yeah, but yes, but let's be honest. It's a horror movie,
it's a good,
honestly,
it's
and
a good suspenseful
and
movie.
it's a monster movie, and it has a great story in terms of horror movies. Because if you're a horror movie junkie, you're not watching horror movies for the story of it. You're watching
Yeah.
horror movies because, oh,
To
that
see how well
person
they're put
just got his
together,
head
yeah.
chopped off, right? Or see really good special effects. I, for one, am not a huge fan of horror movies because I like movies that actually have some sort of
like depth.
plot and
Yeah.
depth. Or like I like monster movies that are actually fun to watch. Horror movies are just like blood splatter and random screams. I'm just
Yeah.
not a huge fan of the horror
I
genre.
go to see horror movies because I like to make fun of them or point out inconsistencies because I don't get scared. Another good horror movie of 2018, Hellfest. Have you seen Hellfest?
I have not. I don't even know if I've heard of Hellfest.
It got subpar reviews, but I watched Halloween, the new Halloween, and then I watched Hellfest, and I thought Hellfest was better than the new Halloween. It wasn't like a supernatural kind of horror movie. It wasn't necessarily like a gore film, like a shock value sort of thing, but it was pretty realistic in terms of like, hey, this is something that could just like happen, you know? So I, I thought it was pretty good. I thought the writing was pretty good. Yeah, there were a few like horror movie cliches. Every movie's gonna have that, but in and of itself, I thought it was a decent movie, and the ending definitely set it up for something else. So if you haven't seen Hellfest, then check it out. I think it's released on DVD now, so that means you should be able to see it on streaming services. But yeah, if you're into horror movies and suspenseful sort of things, go ahead and check out Hellfest when you get the chance.
And 2018 was a good year for suspenseful movies.
On the topic of bad movies, though, have you seen The Nun?
Did that come out in 2018?
Yep.
Oh, wow, okay. That's a long... Okay, a little off topic, but 2018 feels like it was forever. Black Panther came out this year, and it feels like it came out 3 years ago.
You say this year, it's 2019.
Oh, crap. Sorry. I'm still on the first week of January.
When 2018 is finally over after 2 years.
It's that scene from Titanic. It's been 85 years.
But yeah, The Nun. Don't watch The Nun. It's just so bad.
It has almost nothing to do with The Conjuring, and there was like, oh, it explains The Conjuring perfectly. No, it doesn't. Also, The Conjuring doesn't need to.
The darkest chapter in The Conjuring.
The Conjuring doesn't need to be explained. If you watch Conjuring 1 and then Conjuring 2, you don't need anything else. They both make perfect sense.
They explain it in the first Conjuring movie.
Yeah. And I mean, The Conjuring's connected to Annabelle, and if you watch Annabelle 1 and 2,
isn't good either.
Those make sense, and those movies are okay.
They're better than The Nun. They're definitely better than The Nun, but they're not that good.
And that's another one of those series where it's like 5 movies is unnecessary.
Yeah.
You know?
But The Nun, I went with like 5 of my friends to go see it. We went to it was like 11 o'clock showing on like a Saturday night or something. So it was just filled with what you expect, like teenagers and stuff that were out late at night.
Well, I heard that the trailer had like the only scary part of that movie.
Yeah.
And it was the part where the nun came up down that hallway, like sideways. Me
and my friends were in the top row of the theater laughing the entire movie.
I expected to be scared because the trailer made me jump, and then the movie was nothing.
Yeah, it was... Me and my friends were in the top row of the theater laughing for literally the entire movie, and I think people were starting to get mad at us because we were just laughing throughout the movie. But it was something. It was a new level of terrible. So, yeah.
2018 was also full of, I wouldn't call them remakes, but reboots, right?
Yeah.
Or continuations of. You have.
Like Halloween. The new Halloween is actually a direct sequel to the original Halloween.
You have the new Halloween. You have the second Jurassic World, Ocean's 8, which is the all-female version of Ocean's 11, 12, and 13.
I heard that movie didn't do too well.
I loved it. It was really
I
good.
didn't watch it. So,
it was really
I haven't
good.
Seen...
If you're a fan of Ocean's 11, like the original ones.
Yeah, I haven't seen Ocean's 11.
It's a direct sequel to Ocean's 12 or 13, if I'm remembering it correctly, and it is really well made and really well acted, and I definitely recommend Ocean's 8. But you've also got the Grinch, the remake of the animated Grinch with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, that movie, it sold well. The new animated Grinch movie, it was doing pretty well, but I think that's just because it's the Grinch, because it's a pretty bad movie.
Well, but you go into the Grinch movie expecting the Grinch. You know what the story's going to be.
Yeah, but
it's
not the Grinch. That's why it's a bad movie, because they took what made the Grinch. Have you seen Jim Carrey's live action?
Of course, who
Grinch?
hasn't?
Yeah. If you watch this Grinch, they take everything that makes the Grinch, the Grinch, and they just let's make it PC.
Oh, so was he too nice?
Yeah,
okay.
You know how the whole plot point and the whole personality of the Grinch is he hates Christmas and he doesn't want anybody else to enjoy it. Yeah, they just sort of threw that out, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm mean, and I don't like you." The
worst reboot in 2018 was The Predator. I heard this movie.
Okay.
with was it Keegan-Michael Key? Right, he's one of the main characters in it. Is horrible.
I watched that with my dad and one of my dad's friends, It was a terrible movie, but it was just fun to watch.
Well,
Like
it's
I would
Predator,
go
so that
like
makes sense.
I would go see it again.
Well, but yeah, but you
because
don't.
it was just fun to
Well,
watch.
there are certain movies that you go into and you're not expecting to watch them and be like, oh, this is gonna be a really good movie. No, you go into them expecting them to be fun to watch. Like you're not gonna. This is a 2018 movie, but the new Godzilla with Millie Bobby Brown comes out
yeah,
soon.
that comes out in May.
That comes out in May, and you're not gonna go into the movie and be like, oh, this is gonna be a good, well thought out movie. No, it's a monster movie.
Yeah.
And you're gonna watch it
I
to
don't-
watch Godzilla roar fire and shoot
Yeah.
lasers out of his eyeballs.
I'm not gonna go into Godzilla expecting groundbreaking. What's the
Cinematic miracle,
award
shall
for
we?
best writing?
I don't know. I
remember
don't
the
watch
name
those
of
award
it.
shows
But,
because
yeah, I don't either.
because like there's none of the movies that I watched are never nominated for an Oscar because they're just like everybody's like, oh, it wasn't cinematic. Like no, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into Godzilla expecting a groundbreaking cinematic experience. I'm gonna go into Godzilla because they spent millions of dollars to make giant lizards that shoot lasers.
Yeah. Like well, we use 2018 reference more than Godzilla. The Meg was
I
another
didn't
movie
watch The
that
Meg.
you should not go into expecting really good acting
That's got,
or anything. First off, it's got Dwight from The Office,
Yeah,
right? Who's a good actor.
Rainn Wilson.
Rainn Wilson, generally, but he's not an Oscar
Jason
winner.
Statham.
Jason Statham,
you know
right?
from
And if Jason
Crank
Statham
and The Mechanic, Fast and Furious 7.
And if Jason Statham is in a movie, there are going to be very loud explosions, a lot of blood. It's going to
Oh
be.
yeah, have you seen
But the
Crank?
Meg-
Have you seen
but-
The Mechanic?
But the Meg is basically Jaws but bigger and like more technology. Oh, Fallen Kingdom, the second Jurassic World. I haven't
watched that.
I enjoyed it.
My parents told me that it wasn't good,
A
so
lot
I
of
didn't
people
watch
said
it.
that it wasn't good and they didn't like the story of it, but saying that there was two stories. Like, no, there wasn't two stories. The first part on the island perfectly fit into the part at I forgot his name, the rich guy's mansion, and it was a really good movie, especially in terms of Jurassic World and Jurassic Park movies. They're very good, and it's a very good sequel too, and it left it perfectly for a third one. And it's always good when movies are like, it's going to be? There's going to be a next one. And so everybody's now going to be talking about, oh, when is the third Jurassic World going to come out? And no one knows.
Mortal Engines, that came out. I haven't seen it. My dad saw it, and according to everybody I've talked to about it who's seen the movie, the only good thing about Mortal Engines is the visual effects. Apparently, the visual effects in that movie are insanely good.
Makes sense.
But that's it. Don't go into the movie expecting high quality entertainment. Just go to it to watch, the giant steampunk flying ship shooting at things. And same thing goes for
Ooh,
I
also,
forgot the name.
we cannot skip any 2018 movies without talking about there were 4 romantic comedies that came out.
Oh god, yeah, I don't watch those.
You usually watch those? Okay, I saw all 3, by the way.
Oh no.
To the people out there. What they were? Tall Boys I've Loved Before, The Kissing Booth, and Crazy Rich Asians. Crazy Rich Asians is by far the best one and the only one not produced by Netflix.
What about The Spy Who Dumped Me?
I didn't see this.
I didn't either.
But I heard it wasn't really a rom-com. I heard it was just a funny spy movie.
Yeah, it had not Melissa McCarthy. Who's the other one? Ah, crap, I forgot her name. But
Oh, Mila Kunis was in it.
yeah, I forgot that she's still relevant.
Of course she's still relevant. She's Mila Kunis. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's married to Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher, by the way. No longer an actor, but a great person.
Really? No longer an actor?
Does not act anymore.
He's in The Ranch,
he's
the Netflix series.
Yeah, okay. But he's the CEO of Thorn. But anyway,
That's pretty great.
Off topic.
But what's another one to talk about?
Oh, let's talk about there's a lot of kids movies with good special effects.
Vice
that
is
came out.
listed as a comedy in this movie. Okay.
No, Vice.
We can't talk about Vice without getting
Oh.
insanely political.
Oh, okay. So let's go off of, because all the movies in the Golden Globes this year, 2018 movies, but I saw the ones that were nominated, and some of the movies that were nominated in certain categories should not have been in those categories. Black Panther was nominated for Best Drama. What part of Black Panther is dramatic? None. None of them are
part where
dramatic.
he says, Killmonger, and Killmonger turns around and says, "Sup." That just made me
wasn't even
cry. That was so.
That wasn't even that funny. That was just Michael B. Jordan basically not acting, just being Michael B.
Basically
Jordan.
not acting. Yeah.
But let's talk about.
Speaking of Michael B. Jordan, Creed 2. Don't go watch Creed 2. Creed 2 is Rocky 4. If you want to watch Creed 2, watch Rocky 4, and
'cause
you'll
it's
get a better
better.
Creed 2 experience.
Let's talk about kids movies that came out. You got
A Wrinkle in Time.
A Wrinkle in Time, which is really weird, but so is the original Wrinkle in Time.
I haven't seen
So
either of them.
they're
So
super weird movies.
I don't tend to watch kids movies.
But a lot of they all had really good special effects though. The Nutcracker.
Yeah,
The new
Nutcracker, I
was,
saw a bit of that.
Was a good movie. I really liked that one. It got decent reviews, but I really liked it. It
I
was
saw a
well
bit of
acted.
that. It
Of course,
was-
and it has Morgan Freeman. So
You know, I mean, it was definitely a kids movie, but yeah, it was.
The House
It
with
was
a
pretty
Clock
good.
in its Walls.
I wanted to watch.
Really good special
That's
effects.
listed on here as horror.
No, not a horror. Well, if you're a younger kid, if you're 12, but if we're both 18, so no.
Can we talk about Night School and Kevin Hart's Downward Spiral? Because Night School did pretty bad.
I hear that his newest movie's gonna be really good though.
I hope so. Because
What is it? The one with Bryan Cranston?
what's it called?
Oof, forgot the name. He's a new movie with Bryan Cranston, and Bryan Cranston's paralyzed.
Robin Hood. That was
New
pretty
Robin
good.
Hood,
It
Taron
had
Egerton.
Taron
Taron Egerton from
Egerton
you know him
and,
from
Kingsman.
He was in Kingsman, and he played the gorilla in Sing, that came out a few years ago. That's an animated
Jamie
movie.
Foxx.
That's not great.
Jamie
Foxx
Foxx.
also another
Well,
good actor.
One thing I had against Robin Hood, it was a really good movie in and of itself. It was a really good retelling
Was
of
it a
Robin
good
Hood.
adaptation of
Because we've
Robin
had
Hood? My favorite
'Cause we've
Robin
had-
Hood adaptation is the one that's like 3 hours long with Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman.
Oh yeah, I think it's just called Robin of Locksley.
That one
or
was
something.
called Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. But this Robin Hood, it was a really good movie. Really good adaptation of the Robin Hood story because it's been retold so many times, so there's not really much new that you can do with it. The one complaint I have about it is Jamie Foxx's acting wasn't really anything to write home about because while he was supposed to be playing a Persian, I think it was a Persian war veteran, he sounded more like he was from Brooklyn. It sounded like he wasn't really making an effort in that sense. But other than that, really good movie. Satisfying ending.
How did you feel about Ready Player One?
I didn't watch Ready Player One because everybody, as soon as I read an article that said, "Is Ready Player One the Black Panther for gamers?"
No.
I said I'm never going to see that
I've
movie.
heard so many mixed reviews on Ready Player One. But the review that I agree with most is that the movie's claim to fame was all nostalgia because it's got the DeLorean from Back to the Future and it's
They spent billions of dollars on licensing.
The Millennium Falcon's in it. It's got some stuff from Jurassic Park. It's got all this nostalgic things from movies in the past, and it also has random video game characters and all that stuff. And also it's also so basically in that sense, it's the live action version of Ralph Breaks the Internet. Also a decent movie if you have children.
Yeah,
Very good movie.
Ralph Breaks the Internet in and of itself was a good movie,
Disney-
but it was definitely a kids movie. So don't go into it expecting a big
it's
deal.
Disney, and it's the
Yeah.
sequel to Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I'm just saying don't go into Ralph Breaks the Internet expecting something deep or something
Just
complex.
expect a Disney movie.
You go in They establish the setting, they establish the plot, establish the problem, and then complete the problem. It's very straightforward.
Expect a feel-good Disney movie.
Yeah.
It's every animated Disney movie.
It's just fun. Speaking of fun movies, Overlord. Have you seen Overlord?
No.
That movie was crazy. I loved that movie. I actually have the poster for it in my room. It is very violent. It is very loud, and it is a lot of shock value sort of thing. The visual effects are crazy in that movie. Not much of a story, but I don't care because the rest of the movie just blew me away. I loved it. It was definitely, if you like, action thriller kind of movies, it's basically COD Zombies the movie.
Yeah.
And I loved every minute of it. And like I said, I even got the poster from my work. So it's definitely go check that one out if you're into action movies.
Let's talk genres. Okay, real quick. What do you think was the most disappointing, or didn't have that many movies come out genre 2018?
Horror.
Horror. Mine, for me, is comedy. I'm a huge comedy movie fan, and it's sad that the funniest movie that came out in 2018 is Deadpool 2, which is technically not a comedy. It's an action
Deadpool 2
movie.
was good.
That's a great movie, and it is hilarious. And we love the
But yeah, I see what you're
Brad
saying.
Pitt cameo for 8 seconds, and he was paid a cup of Starbucks for it. And
Yeah, the fact that a superhero comic book movie was better than all of the comedy movies that came out that year that's saying something.
We mentioned earlier, Holmes and Watson, which was a tank.
The worst, statistically, the worst movie of 2018.
You look at the list of movies that came out in 2018, and there's really not even that many comedies were released.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch. It's a lot of. You will see in 2018, The Spy Who Dumped Me, comedy movie, by the way. That movie was funny, but again, not really comedy. But if you like superheroes, there are a ton of superhero. Not all of them were technically superhero, but there's a ton of movies like that, right? Mortal Engines, Jurassic Park came out, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, which was a really good movie and a really good sequel to the original Ant-Man. Then Infinity War, Black Panther, Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
which is probably the best superhero
I saw that movie
came out
twice.
this year.
I saw Into the Spider-Verse twice. That was really good. Definitely go check it out. It is not a kids movie, despite what a lot of people think.
Well, that's why it didn't have a good opening box office, because everybody just expected it to be, it's just
a stupid animated kids adaptation of Spider-Man.
Kids Spider-Man movie. And
no.
it is a very adult movie. It is it's probably better than most of the live-action Spider-Man movies.
Did you stay for the end credit scene?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but that was one of the best end credit scenes I think I've ever seen.
It's probably better than most of the it's gonna be better than Spider-Man 3, the Raimi version. Better than that. It's gonna be better than the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
The Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire, I liked that movie, but it got really bad reviews. Apparently, I'm like the only one who liked that movie, but that was a long time ago.
That's the second anime superhero movie that came out. Because do you count The Incredibles as a superhero movie? Because I do.
I mean, they're both owned by Disney, so I guess.
But Spider-Verse wasn't Spider-Verse Sony?
True, but it's still Marvel licensing. So, but Incredibles 2, once again, it's not really a kids movie, and because you watch. I feel like they were aware that you watched the first Incredibles when. Crap, when did that movie come out?
2004.
You watched. I think they were aware that, most people in the world, I imagine, they watched The Incredibles, when they were really young. And if you've seen the first Incredibles, which, once again, if you haven't seen the first Incredibles by now, you probably live under a rock in the middle of the Sahara. But it ended on a cliffhanger, and it was a really good movie. And then, 13 years later or something, they released the sequel. They announced and released the sequel. I went and saw it, and it, like I was saying, it's not necessarily a kid's movie. I think they were fully aware that, hey, everybody who watched the original movie is a young adult by now. So let's just, like, they did a good job of, like, merging both sides of that, I guess. And yeah, definitely go check that out, especially if you've watched the first one. You don't need to have seen the first one for this one to make sense, but it's better if you've seen the first one.
To finish out here, folks, and to recap movies in 2018, a lot of good kids movies, a lot of good superhero movies, Venom and all those.
Yeah, Venom, good movie. I don't care what anyone else says. I saw Venom twice, one time by myself, one time with my friends. I saw it twice, loved it both times. I would, if I bought DVDs, I would buy a DVD for this movie.
To close out, just quickly, one movie that you're most excited for 2019.
Men in Black International.
I'm gonna go with Star Wars Episode 9 because I liked Episode 8 even though most people didn't.
Episode 8, okay. Episode 8 was not good.
Yeah, just to close out, 2018 was a good year for movies. 2019 will hopefully be a better year for movies because you heard us. For some reason, we didn't like the movies of 2018.
Yeah.
Anyways, this podcast will most likely be released this week, and tune again next week when Zach and Grant will be on the podcast next week, and they haven't said what they're going to do yet, but that should be fun. Zach and Grant are good people.
So yeah, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications.
Yeah, turn on post notifications.
All of this, that.
We have a Twitter and all that.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
We have a Twitter. So if you disagree with us, tweet us, I guess.
Let us know. I'll be happy. Like I said in the beginning, I work in a movie theater. I'd be happy to debate movies.
We'll answer too. But
yeah.
anyways, thank you for listening. We've run out of time. We've actually gone very long. I've been told that we've gone over half an hour.
So
yeah, thank you for listening. We hope you agree. If you disagree, tweet us or contact us in any way. I think it's just at CvHS Scribe.
Yeah.
The Twitter. Yeah. So at CvHS Scribe if you want to tweet at us. I forget what my personal Twitter is at the moment. All I know is it's my name. It's my name spelled wrong because I made it in like 4th grade. But anywho, thank you for listening, and please tune in next week.
We'll see you guys later.